Hello everyone and welcome to round 7 of this season of ILR Season 2 here on the Xbox platform. Tier 2 of course, and we are going to be going anytime soon for qualifying here at Canada and the race as well. In terms of this race, a lot still at stake in this championship. We've got only round 7 out of 21. We had Monaco last time out, which obviously was a very interesting race indeed. But we'll go through the Drivers' Championship as we speak right now. So Midzi currently leads the way. He's on 87 points and he's got 19 points to Chris Macker-Jones, who's currently in second. He's had a really consistent season this so far. However, a win has since eluded him. But already this season we've had 6 different winners out of the first 6 races. Can we have a 7th different winner? And I think here at Canada, we can have that indeed. Going down in third place, we've got Bromson. So the 2 Ferrari boys are doing a superb job. And then we've got Josu in 4th in the Red Bull on 51 points. Again, a very consistent season indeed. Dasfeld has really come alive recently. Got some cool podiums on his belt. He's currently in 5th in the McLaren at 49 points. Jamie is in the Haas. He's on 40 points and 6th in the Haas. Again, a good season so far from him as well. Vasa Kushmania started off really well. Has had the pace, but it's kind of dropped the ball a little bit recently. He's currently in 7th place on 37 points. And he's joined with AOR Pelzera. He's in 8th place in the Haas. And Haas doing a good job in the Constructors' Championship too. F1 Maestro in 9th place. He had that win when he debuted in Bahrain. He's in 9th. And S. Bonkers is in 10th in the Mercedes on 27 points. TR Dutchman's in 11th for 25 points. Ellie Revolutions is in 12th for 20 points. And Shazzy Burnouts is in 13th with 14 points. 10 points for Thomas in 14th. ILR Bibbin is in 15th from 6 points. And 4 points for Flying Wasabi. And RH Racing is on 1 point. Joker is on 9 points, and so is Adam and VRT Emerald. So that is the Drivers' Championship so far, going into round 7. In terms of our Constructors' Championship, McLaren are leading the way just about. It's a very tight battle between McLaren and Ferrari. Dasfeld and Mizzi are doing a superb job at McLaren, obviously. Mizzi's in the championship, and Dasfeld's been on a bit of a run recently in terms of podiums. He's on 136 points. And obviously you've got Bromson and Chris Macker-Jones in the Ferrari. They're on 128 points together. So there's only 8 points the gap between both Ferrari and McLaren. So there's a big battle going on there. Haas are doing a superb job in third. On 77 points, they're 59 points down. And obviously you've got Red Bull in 4th place. They're on 66 points together, so it's a bit of a battle between 3rd, 4th, and actually 5th as well for Force India. And they're on 60 points. And Mercedes on 47 points in 6th. Sauber on 37 points in 7th. Williams are on 26 points in 8th. And Renault are on 10 points in 9th. And we've got Toro Rosso, they're on no points currently as it stands. But yeah, very tight between the top 2 teams, Ferrari and McLaren. Both teams have got very good drivers in them, and they're both those 4 drivers are in the top 5. So in the championship, so in that sense, I do think that McLaren versus Ferrari in terms of a Constructors' Championship, and I can't believe I'd be saying this actually on in terms of F1 terms, but McLaren and Ferrari are battling away for the Constructors' Championship and the Drivers' Championship, which is something that we kind of said since 2008. So it's been quite a long time since we've actually been able to say that, which is amazing. But yeah, they're battling away for the Constructors' Championship, and I do think that can go down to the wire. They've got very good drivers in those 2 teams. All 4 of them are in the top 5 in the championship, as I said. All of them are able to win races and score very consistent podiums as well. So I think the battle for the top 2 in the Constructors' Championship anyway is going to go very close down to the wire. We've got a big midfield scrap, obviously from 3rd place all the way down to sort of 6th, 7th-ish roughly. Where there's quite a tight gap, there's not much in it. So, all to play for going into round 7 at Canada, and we could have our 7th different winner today if things all go well. But this season's been very interesting. We've had so many different winners, and it continues to sort of spring up surprises this season so far. We haven't really had anything where one man's dominated every single race. We've not had that yet. So, the season's been interesting. That it was almost that there's not actually one person who wants to win this championship because there's been so many different winners that it's all up in the air really. Obviously right now Midzi is in control of it, but Chris is only 19 points behind because he's been pretty consistent as of recent. So it's all the play for going into this round at Canada, and we'll see how things go. Be interesting to see if we can get some rain. I think that would make things quite interesting. We haven't really had much weather in this season so far, so I think rain could make a very, very interesting race, particularly at Canada. But yeah, all to play for. There's no commentator alongside me today, it's me on my own, so hopefully I can be as entertaining as possible for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy the action, and be sure to just follow me on Twitch right now to continue for updates when we stream every Friday. Next week, I don't believe we're streaming next week because we've got a break week, so that means that we've got a couple of weeks until our next race, so hopefully this one sends off a nice little, good, interesting race for us to have before our break this season. But I think we're preparing to go anytime soon. We've got quite a lot of numbers here. Monaco didn't have many turnouts, so we've got 16 people racing. I'm commentating, obviously, so there's quite a lot of people here. So I expect a good race. There's always a good midfield scrap as well, actually. But again, our main names to look out for is obviously people like Midzi, Chris Jones, Brumpson. We've got quite a lot of guys here that and Dasfell as well. And definitely also in terms of qualifying, Pelzeri's been really good in qualifying recently as well. So he's one to watch. There's two. Adam Lee, he's got some good pace. So a lot of these guys are capable of being right up there and mixing it up. And we had a really big mix-up order. And again, this season so far has been a kind of an idea of strategy has been the big thing in qualifying. People have not been going out on the softest of the soft compounds they have available to them. They're going out on tyres that are not so soft. They've been going on tyres that are kind of harder on the soft compounds. So that means they're stretching their first stints longer, and generally it means they can go for the one stop. And we've seen that quite a lot this season where the two stop versus one stop has been quite close. Bahrain was a big example of that, where the two stop and the one stop was quite close. Here, I see the same situation happening. That means we have different people on pole, mix up the order, means people have to overtake, and I think that makes this tier quite exciting in that sense, because people are generally having to go for it in the championship battle from lower down on the order. And we had that at Monaco. Monaco was a big race, a lot of overheating of tyres, people really struggling with tyre management around there, so that made that race really interesting. That's why Midzi didn't score so well, and Chris was struggling with tyres. Everyone was struggling with tyres in the top six in that race. So going into this one, hopefully tyres are not a problem. I think around here that isn't going to be an issue. So these guys can really go for it in the race and give us a good show. But we are entering qualifying right now, and hopefully we have a dry session here, which means people can actually go for their best lap times. Our last wet qualifying was in Australia, and Adam Lee's already left the session, so he's lagged out already. He's had problems with connection all season long, so he's not going to be... If he can get back in, obviously he can progress forward, but unfortunately he's not looking good in terms of connection. He's had problems all season long, so right now it's all pretty quiet so far. We've only just started the session. We're waiting for the first guys to go out on circuit, and I do think this can be very interesting. That last chicane is very difficult as well. The chicane before the Wall of Champions, people, if you get that wrong, you're going into that wall definitely. So I do think we might see quite a few mistakes here in qualifying. People aren't prepared enough. But just waiting anytime soon for the first car to go circuit, as now Flying Wasabi's in the left session, so I don't know if there's been some sort of lobby issue or if we're just having people disconnecting. But I can hear the first car coming in circuit, so I don't think there's actually an issue. Let's see where that's coming from. I can see that up and down the pit lane. Let's see who it's going to be. Again, Wasabi's now connected, so actually we've got, I think, that Red Bull going to the circuit. Yes, it is. Let's see who that is. It's going to be Joss, who's the first man on circuit right now. And let's see what he can do. He's been pretty good this season. Again, a very consistent season from him so far. And I expect big things from him. I do think he's going to improve big time throughout the season, along with his teammate Irish Racing, who's been very strong as well, but just been a little bit unlucky recently. But yeah, we've got Josu out there on the Hypersoft compound tyre to start off the qualifying session. It's very sunny out there, so things shouldn't be a problem. He's weaving to get some heat into his tyres as he progresses around the circuit. It's a very short lap here in Canada, so it doesn't take long. However, that might mean that people can go for 2 laps here in qualifying, so that could be a factor. There is 3 different DRS zones, the one going obviously on the back straight, and the second one before the last chicane, and obviously we have 3 different DRS zones. So lots of overtaking today is possible. But out there as well, we've got other cars. We've got Joker's out there as well. Irish Racing's out there. And we've got F1 Maestro 2. Brompton's out there. TL Dutchman and Evolutions. Mizzy's going up there, and so is Belzeri. So let's go back to where Josu is. He's going to start preparing to start his lap here in qualifying. Let's run on board with him. He's going through the last chicane now, setting up a lap, hitting the DRS. We head down into turn 1 for the first time here in qualifying. Let's see what he does. He brakes down into his 4th gear. He hits it nicely on the inside, down in 2nd gear. Need a good run here. Very easy, not so easy on traction. A little bit of oversteer there, so strong traction initially. Now into this right left, very tricky. Down the 4th gear. Don't want to cut it too much, because if you do that, you've got it lap time. Through this swooping right-hander before another big braking zone for 50 mm pull down the 3rd gear. He turns it in nicely. It's a good run. It's very tricky on traction this corner as well, but it's a good run. Hits DRS once again, so there's 3 DRS zones in the circuit. And we're on to another chicane, a right left, so down into around 4th gear. Hits the inside nicely, doesn't run it too wide, and gets a very good run so far. Very clean lap from the Red Bull driver. We head down to this very tight hairpin at the 100 meter ball, down into 1st gear. Up the 2nd now, and our 3rd and 4th. Gets a pretty nice run as before we hit the DRS zone around about now. And using all that ERS down this back straight before the last chicane here. And it's very crucial to get this correct. The brakes nicely down into 4th gear, hits the inside nicely, runs a little bit of a hesitation at the last corner, across the line. So 1 minute 9.324 to start off the session. So a pretty good banker lap from him so far. Let's see who else is out there. Jamie's out there as well. Is he on a represented lap time? Let's have a little look. So Dutchman's actually gone 2nd now. And Jamie wasn't on a lap, I don't think. No. Thomas though is actually currently. So let's see what the runner driver can do out of the last chicane. Down the 5th gear, too fast through there. He's hit the wall, and there you go. That's the first mistake of the session. We've hit the wall, and by doing that, by taking too much risk, you destroy your lap time. Let's see what his teammate can do. 1:10.9, so it's 1.6 seconds off the pace. But there you go. Big accident already, and I did call that at the start of the session. If you mess up that last sector, your last chicane, you're just going into that wall. There's no way you're not going into that wall. You're going into that wall. F1 Maestro has since gone into P1, so he's on provisional pole by over a second. So very good lap from him. Let's see what Chris Jones can do as he comes across the line. In the Ferrari, it's going to be a 1 minute 9.5 on the, is that the Ultra Soft? That's the Ultra Soft tyre. So Chris is on the harder of the 2 available. So I'm sure there's a little bit more lap time in that. Anybody else out there? We've got Jamie who's coming around to complete his lap time. Okay, that's going to say 6 seconds off the pace. What's the line for Jamie? It's going to be P4, 1.1 off the pace. Not too bad for the Haas driver. Anybody else? Let's have a look. RH Racing is out there currently, and so is AOR Pelzeri and Dazfel. So let's have a look at RH Racing and see how he's getting on. These 3 are quite close in proximity, and he's going to hit the DRS zone now. And then this back straight is now Joker's got a 5 grid penalty with a collision with LE Revolutions. That's going to be interesting to see if there's any penalty involved. We'll see that in the Stewards Inquiry Office. Our last game now, as RH Racing struggles with traction at the last corner, he's actually backed off there, so he's not happy with it. Pelzeri's backed off into the pit lane, and Midzi is on an out lap. Daz Felzi can complete his lap time. Let's see what he's going to do. It's a 1 minute 8.2, puts him into 2nd place. He's about over a tenth off F1 Maestro so far, so pretty close up top. Daz Fel continuing on with his very strong form so far this season. A really solid job, and the McLaren driver's doing a very good job out there as it stands. Anybody else on lap times? Bibbin's out there as well. Nobody as of yet, so it seems to me it's all quieting down a little bit as Adam Lee and Midzi are currently on their outlaps. But Adam Lee's been able to get back into session. He actually lagged out initially, so he's back in here. Let's see, he's going to start a lap now, so let's ride on board with the Taurus driver. Down to 3rd gear for turn 1, and then on 2nd gear for turn 2, well actually 1st gear instead actually. And he uses quite a lot of the revs here. Now into the 1st chicane, down to 4th gear. It's doing a little bit of understeer there, seemingly. He's turning it in, but it's not quite turning the way he wants it to turn. Again, very tricky chicane here as well, down the 3rd gear. You really want to be careful on traction. And again, seemingly a little bit of understeer. It doesn't look to be as settled as he would like it to be. It's not pointing the way he wants to go. And now this chicane here, Down to third gear. A little bit of oversteer mid-corner, but he's okay. Got a traction out of it pretty well. Now into this hairpin. Down into around first gear. Actually, now neutral, and now first, and now second. Now third, now fourth. And then down this back straight, it's DRS around about now. And then we head down into the final chicane, which again we've seen earlier from Thomas. Could easily make a mistake. Down to third gear now. Needs a good run, which he has got indeed. Going to come across the line. Going to be a 1 minute 10.2 official in P8 currently. Let's see what Mizzy's doing out there. He's in out of the final chicane as well. Let's see what the McLaren driver can do. He's in the ultra soft compound tyres across the line and a 10.4. So not that competitive, but not bad either. It's Chris's lap time was quite a bit faster on the same set of compounds, so he's looking at what Chris has done and quite a bit of lap time. He is still attacking seemingly out there. Let's have a look on board with the McLaren driver, and he is up by 6 tenths, so he is going for it on the second run. Let's keep on board with him. Current championship leader. He's a good exit here, and he's got a reasonable one. He has a little bit of understeer, got a bit of traffic in front. He'll use a little bit of that safe stream, but just gets it away nicely. Down into fourth gear. Rise to curves is lovely. I love the way he's riding those. It's perfect. And he completes the 2, and it's going to be 9 tenths up, so he is up quite a bit. Down to first gear, and he's a good run, and short shifts nice up to second, and now third. The exit's pretty good. Uses the rest of his ERS. He's a little bit low though. He's down to sort of 28-27%. As we head into the last braking zone, so it's going to be quite low on the ERS as he crosses the line, so he needs to brake quite nicely here. So he takes some more ERS, and he's got a good run now. It hits DRS to the line. And let's see what he can do. So 1 minute 9 point, actually 1 minute 8.8, 9 point, actually pretty good. 1 minute 8.988. So pretty good from the McLaren driver, and he's quite close on his ERS. So I think he might take that and just choose to stay on those ultra tyres for the start of the race. So pretty good lap from the McLaren driver. McLaren's currently in P2 and P4. TR Dutchman though is doing a superb job again in qualifying in Monaco. He did a great job. Let's see what he can do. He's currently out there on a lap as well. Destroys that remarkable though. And let's see what he can do here. So there he comes across the line. There's the force in the driver for a 1 minute 8.4. Improves a little bit, but not by a lot. As F1 Maestro goes fastest again on a 1 minute 8.114. So Maestro absolutely loving it round here in Canada, and he's having a world of a time. Sets another personal best and another provisional pole out. So he's a 10th and a half up on Dasfeld. Dasfeld is out there currently. And he's starting a lap here. Anyone else? Jamie's not doing one. Bromson's out there currently. And Midsey is coming back in. So he's now down to P6 on those ultra softs. He's got to kind of weigh up if it's worth him doing a run on the hypers. He's back out there again as well. Let's see what Pelzeri can do. Again, it doesn't look like it's going to be a very fast lap. It comes across the line for 1 minute 11.3, so not that quick. But was that even counted? I don't think it was. So I think he's struggling a little bit around here. So we'll see what Dasfeld's doing as he's heading into that hairpin. Needs a good run out of this corner and set him up for this long straight. Front and ball with McLaren driver. His DRS. Head down into this last chicane now, so he needs to get this pretty much spot on. Down the fourth gear, he's took that pretty well, and here comes across the line. Let's see what it's going to be, a 1 minute 8.221. It's just a 10th off pole, so it's so close. He's getting so close to F1 Maestro, but it's just not enough currently for pole position. It's twice, they've been very similarly matched. So Maestro is sitting there, a 10th up. He's probably got another run left in him. But we could see 1 minute 7s here if things all go to plan. Let's have a look if anybody else is out. Jossy's out there currently. Is he actually on a flying lap here? I think he's going on to one. So let's see. I think Pelzeri's out there as well, but he's back into the pit lane. So let's go with RH Racing's. How is he doing? He's on the back in as well. Jossu, let's see what he's doing. Chris is on the out lap. So Jossu, let's see what he's doing out there. Run on board with him. The 3 yellow flags. So Jossu trying to improve his lap time on the hyper soft. He'll get this run in and then he'll be able to come back into the pit lane and put another set of tyres on. So down the fourth gear here. He's a good exit, which he has got. And that traction in that Red Bull seems to be pretty good. So he's having a good time with things here. Doesn't tell me if he's up or down on his lap. A little bit of a lock on the front right, but I think he's okay. But lots of oversteer on the exit. So you really want to short shift up the second gear mid-corner at that hairpin for the best exit possible. So he's probably losing a couple of tenths there. Easy, as it's fixed, because it does affect your run down this back straight. As we head into the final chicane now, and he comes into the pit lane, so he's decided that's enough. Everyone's in the pit lane. Mizzy's going out for what is he on? He's on the Hypersoft, so he's going for another run in. Let's see what he does. So here he goes into turn 1, down into third gear, hits it nicely, down into second to the left part. He's a good exit. Now the right left chicane, which he's got. Oh, he's so close to that wall there. He's almost kissing the wall. And now down into third gear for the left. He's a good run for the right. Looks a bit of understeer slightly, but not too bad. It opens it up nicely. Using the ERS he's got left. And this right left once again down to fourth gear. That's a pretty good exit. So let's see if it's going to be an improvement from the McLaren driver. And again, not telling me if he's up or down. He's a good exit from this hairpin. In the second gear, he short shifts instead. And it seems to be a bit of understeer in the McLaren. So he's not completely happy. His DRS down this back straight. As we head into the final chicane. And he's backed off. So he's obviously not happy. He's just coming back into the pit lane. So he's going to fit another set of tyres, I think. But he's just not happy with that lap as a general. Chris is out there currently as well. He's actually into 3, so this might be a lap for Chris. He's on the Hypersoft because he backed off. No, I think he's actually on a lap potentially. Yeah, he's not really on it, yeah, so he's not really on it either. He's come back in too. So a lot of the guys are actually in the pit lane or coming back out to start their final runs of the session. So a lot of guys are sort of going out for another run, look at the tyres, flip the tyres. Okay, there's a bit of an improvement. I'll go back out for one last run on those tyres. So Chris and Mizzy have done that. Mizzy actually is behind Chris. And obviously they'll start both. Both of them will start on the. Chris actually on the Hypersoft and Mizzy's actually on the Ultrasoft. So actually, it'll be Mizzy who will be starting on the Ultrasoft, not Chris instead. So different strategy for Mizzy. And also this track is a track that you can actually overtake on as well. So I do expect quite a lot of overtaking this evening. Dutchman's out there as well. Again, he's probably. Is he actually on a flyer? I think he actually is. So let's ride on board with him. He's currently 3 tenths down on Maestro. Maestro's out there again as well. Let's see how well Dutchman can do. This track is like a street circuit because the barriers are so close to you. It feels like a street track, so it's so close. Here's a good run from this hairpin. He leaves it in first for longer, so different driving styles being seen here in qualifying. Let's see what the Force Indy driver can do on this lap here. He heads on this back straight, long back straight. Needs a good exit from this final chicane. Vital for your lap time. Down into fourth gear. A little bit of understeer seemingly coming across the line. Let's see what it's going to be. And it's going to be a 8.2. It is an improvement, but I'm sure there's more in it for him. So let's see if he's got another run left. Maestro, Dasfel's up there currently. He's an off-flyer lap. He's starting one. Maestro's out there as well. He's going to be doing his final lap. So it is a battle between the top, sort of even top 5 actually. But Mike Robson isn't going again. Midsy's going out there for a lap as well. So our battle is on pole between the top 4. Maestro's actually good. He's actually not a 7.7. So we haven't caught that on camera. He's actually improved by a long way. We're into the 7s at Canada. It's provisional pole once again for Maestro. He's actually had it in control for the whole session. So what can Dasfell do in response? And what can Jamie and what can Dutchman do? Dutchman's actually slowed down, so he ain't going again either. This should be pole position to Maestro, unless Dasfell's found an absolute flyer in his McLaren. Let's see. He's going to finish off this lap here. Is it going to be up? He needs a good exit from this this hairpin. He's in second. It's very smooth. He's shifting okay, so this should be okay, unless he's going for another one after this one, which he may well be. Need a good exit from this last chicane, which he has got. but I think he's going to go for another run here. He's got that traffic in front though, so not an improvement for Dazfeld, but he's got one more run left in the bank. Dutchman might have one potentially as well. Jamie's out there. He's 3/10 up in the first sector. He skimmed the wall a little bit slightly. He might have got a little bit of wing damage, but he might be okay. He is still up in the second sector. He's 3/10. It might be enough to dislodge Dutchman off the top, off third place, but it might not be enough yet either. So down this back straight once again, hits DRS. Maestro's giving in. He said that's surely going to be enough for pole position for F1 Maestro. So the final chicane now, and he's a good exit, does Jamie. A little bit tentative. And he's quite slow. So there's something that's gone wrong there. Anybody else? Brunson's up there as well currently. Let's see what he's going to do across the line. It's going to be going on to a lap instead. Midzi, what about him? He's currently out there as well. He's a bit up on his first sector, so let's run and ball with him. But currently Jamie's backed out, Marshal's backed out, Dazfeld has another lap, Dutchman has another lap. What can Mizzy do on the Hypersoft? He's currently down in 8th place, needs to get it higher. He's a 10th up in the second sector either as well, so it's not really enough for the McLaren driver as it stands. He's got an okay exit from that final corner, final actual hairpin. But it doesn't look that quick to me. Is it going to be enough to go even higher than he already is? Final chicane now, down to 4th gear. And you're going to come across the line. It's not going to be enough, is it, to go faster? It's going to be an 8.6, P6. But on the old Hypersoft, there wasn't a big difference, was there? So that is pretty much qualifying done and dusted. And Pelzeri actually last minute got into second place, so we didn't see that on the cameras. But Pelzeri, wow, surprise lap. And he's been very quick in qualifying Pelzeri this season so far. The only guy who's hit the complete yet is Pivin, and he's slid down. So that is it. Actual qualifying position over. Maestro takes pole position after what's been quite a torrid season for the Force Indy driver. He had that win in Bahrain, but other than that, it's been pretty glim for the Force Indy driver, and he's got to put it on pole position. 4/10 ahead of ILR Pelzeri, so he's absolutely dominated this session as for Maestro. Took control early on, put the banker in, and he's been there ever since and improved every single time he's gone out there. So very fair play down to F1 Maestro, superb lap, and he starts on pole position for this race. And you never know, there could be a twist in the race. It might rain, which can spring out a surprise and make it even more interesting. So everyone's heading back to the pit lane now. Well, time remaining is 1 minute, so they're not physically actually getting back to the pit lane. It's just their AI cars doing that. So hopefully we'll be finishing soon. Our Bilibin does need to retire. Hopefully he does that. Let's have a look where he is. He's actually on the grass, so don't really know what he's quite doing. Has he run out of fuel or something? He's red in the tank, so I think he might have run out. And I think that's what happened to Jamie actually. He had the same thing, so I think he potentially ran out of fuel at the end. Yeah, he's struggling back to the pit lane. I mean, to be honest, he may just retire. But that is qualifying over, and interesting to see again. Midzi down in 6th place. He's ahead of his title rival Chris. He's down in 9th, so Chris hasn't had the best session. But Dazfeld's been the better McLaren driver today once again. But McLaren looking strong here, and Ferrari down in 7th and 9th. Not been their best showing so far, has it? So again, I would expect quite a lot from this race. Should be quite interesting, and again, we should be on. I mean, we could be on for a different winner. Pelzeri's in 2nd place. He's right there for the taking if he can take it to Maestro in this race. Dazfeld as well hasn't won a race this season so far either, so it's all definitely possible for the top 3, anyone in the top 3 to win the race. So we're just waiting for the final classification, so we'll be able to run through it for yourselves. And it might not let me. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that qualifying session. So there you go, there's your qualification. F1 Maestro starts on pole position in the Force India. 2nd place for ILR Pelzeri in the Haas. 3rd for Dazfeld. 4th for TR Dutchman. 5th for Jamie OC 2004. Midzi in 6th. 7th for Thompson. 8th for Josu. 9th for Chris Michael Jones. And 10th for Joker. 11th for Adam Lee. 12th for RH Racings. 13th for LE Revolutions. 14th for ILR Bibin. And Thomas in 15th, who actually didn't set a time because he crashed out at the beginning of the session. So there is your official starting order for the Canadian Grand Prix for ILR Tier 2. And we're going to be heading down to start the race any moment now. So guys, if you need to get any refreshments for this race, then Please go and do it as quick as possible, because we should be in for an absolute thriller here in Canada. And if it rains, which I hope it does, let's see if it is raining. I hope it does, because it makes things quite interesting when it rains. And it is raining! Yeah, boys! That's what I'm talking about. I love a good old wet race. We haven't had one yet this season. We've had a wet qualifying in Australia, but we haven't had a wet race. It's come to mind. Maybe there was. Was it China that was wet, potentially? I think China was wet. Yeah, I think China was wet. So I think it was anyway. It might have been China. I don't know. I think this might be the first wet race of the season. Potentially China was the wet race. I think it might have been the wet race. But we are just ready for just waiting for everybody to ready up to start off the race. So this is going to be one hell of a race. It is raining quite a lot, so it might not clear up. But here we go, guys. Heading for the grid here in Canada for 5 red lights. And we are lights out, and away we go for Canada. And F1 Maestro gets a pretty okay start, a very good start in the background. We've got Mitzi, actually no, it does fall into the inside of Pelzeri, as now it's actually Maestro who leads the way from Dasfell in second. Jamie in third, he's on the outside. The two Hasses are going side by side here. And behind we've got Robinson, who's battling away with TR Dutchman. There's a pretty interesting start, a little bit of contact in the background. We've got Hasses off together as well. We've got Force India of TR Dutchman trying to make a move on Jamie here, and he has made the move. But it's currently, so far, it's all pretty close here in Canada. Down the order, let's go on board. And we've got, look at this, look how wet it is. It's torrential rain here in Canada. Jamie is right at the back of Dutchman. Who else is very close? We've got Joshua in 7th place behind Midzi, so he's looking for a move on the current championship leader. But everyone is struggling out there for grip. It's so wet, it's torrential, the curbs are sticking. As you can see, Joshua is absolutely struggling for grip. Down the order, anybody else? We've actually overtaken here. Thomas around the outside of Joker on the left-hand side. Can he make this one stick? We're going to go on broadcast camera. He's try to go around the outside, but he can't make it stick. As Adam Lee forces him a little bit, but can Thomas get a move done? It's so tricky in these conditions. This really shows how good of a driver you really are in this game. Yellow flags into 3 out already, as people probably are struggling in that last chicane to get it stopped. But it's all very tight, but finish the first lap already. Maestro is leading the way, but he's got pressure from Dasfell already behind him. So Dasfell is giving a lot of pressure. It looks like the gap that Maestro had originally has cut, and potentially that's the mistake that's been made by Maestro, which has meant Dasfell is all over the rear of him currently. But Maestro is trying to keep his head now. It's so tricky. You've got to be so careful in these conditions and not lose your head. It's so easy to do that. And we've got overtakes going on as we've got Joshua and Mitzi battling away. As Mitzi's on the right-hand side, is a battle. He wants to keep it all clean. His championship is very vital here. And Joshua's actually got him pretty nicely. And Joshua's now in 6th place ahead of Mitzi. But what an action-packed first couple of laps so far for this race. Looking down the order, anything tight. We've got Dasfell sort of 8 tenths off Maestro. But look at this, look how tight. We've got Jamie all on the back of Dutchman. Let's go on board with the Haas driver. He's looking for a move on TR Dutchman. Tries to look to the left-hand side. It's not really overtaking an opportunity. You can cut back though, and you get the cut back. He needs a good exit. Does he get the run and the ERS? He needs to put the telemetry on lap data as well. He's in the slipstream and the DRS. Well, not DRS, sorry. In the wet conditions, you don't get that. And he's not closing in enough, so it's not really any opportunity. He brakes a little bit later than TR Dutchman. But it's so hard out there. They're really struggling for any sort of grip. It's there from Maestro to fast up on the race. And Maestro banged in a pretty good lap there. So he's obviously, whatever mistake he made in lap 1, he's found that time back again. So it's all pretty good. Let's do it as the interval. TR Dutchman's quite close to. It's quite a big battle for P3. Pelzeri is keeping his head so far though. And it's all pretty close there between these three. And Josh is getting involved, and so is Midzi. So Midzi can see the podium. But look at that. Oh, look at that. Josh is on the inside of Jamie there. He's actually made that move stick. What a move. That was hella optimistic from the Red Bull driver. But look, this battle is still going on between I think it's Jamie and Joshua. But I think Josh's got the move done already. And now TR Dutchman's going for the move on Pelzeri ahead. He's on the outside, but look, it's a massive delay. Oh, struggling for grip. is all kicking off here in Canada. They're going to go 3 right into the hairpin, are they? They surely can't make this work into the hairpin. No way! They don't make it work because Josh is being forced off wide onto the left-hand side. We've got Mid-Seas from the inside trying to take advantage as well. These 4 are absolutely giving us a well of a show here. We've got Pelzeri right on the rear. He's going for it onto our Dutchman. That's Jamie actually is doing it. He's quite close behind, but he's not fighting. He's going to break as late as he can around the outside. Can he make this one stick? He's on the inside. Has he made that one stick? He's got Dutchman on the right-hand side as well. They're both battling to the line. And is it going to be? Who's it going to be? It's not going to be Jamie. It's Dutchman who takes it back, but Dutchman's on the right-hand side. Jamie's on the left-hand side. Can he get it back? No, he cannot. Surely not. He cannot do that. So behind Mitzi's battling away. Joshua's getting involved as well. He's actually gone on the inside of Jamie. Jamie's lost 2 positions in one corner pretty much. Mitzi's right behind as well. And it's still kicking off. We've got Joshua in front. It's front of ball. Joshua doesn't make a move on Dutchman. He's also oversteer as well. He needs a good move here on the Hat Force India, but look how close these guys are going for it, and they've got to be so careful because it's so easy to put it into the wall because taking the outside lines, there's no grip there. And I think there's been a wall brush from Jamie. He's gone very deep here. This is going to be an opportunity for Josu. If we can, Dutchman might have a little bit of wing damage. As Josu looks to the inside, but he can't make it stick. He's going to be patient here. He needs a good exit. And as he got the exit, he needs a little bit of oversteer. He's got a bit of a turn. Actually, Dutchman is slowing down. Safety car's been deployed here in Canada, so I don't blame it really. It's very torrential and very wet out there, but these boys have been giving us a fantastic battle, particularly from P3 down to P6. These boys have been battling it out, and Mid-C would have been kind of very mindful of that if you're thinking to himself, it's not worth it, as now Ellie Revolutions actually got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. But Mid-C would have been aware, you know what, I'm not going to risk it. I'm in front of my championship competitor, which is Chris. Chris down to 11th place. Mid-C at the moment is scoring points for the championship, but Maestro doing a superb job here. But Maestro's hard work has basically been undone, as now Chris Jones is heading into the pit lane. Let's see what he's doing. So he's pitting on for a set of wets. Front wing change for the Ferrari driver as well. So there's been some sort of incident early on in this race. But I don't blame, and so is Pelzeri. Pelzeri's actually pitted as well. Actually, he's down in 12, so why is he down there? He's probably pitted already, is he? Let's bring up the data, the details. Yeah, he has pitted, so Pelzeri has some sort of damage to his car as well. So that brings everything back in, but all of Maestro's hard work, as there's been a collision with Dazfeld here. It does feel good damage. Maybe not, maybe there's a bit of lag on my screen. Yeah, State's car has been deployed, and that just basically undoes any work that Maestro had. You know, he gained a pretty big advantage, up to 2 seconds roughly. It's all gone down the pan, and now he's got to try and extend that again. As we're gonna have this is gonna close the field right up again, and it's from stretch 1. But remember, Pelzeri, Chris Jones, Ellie Revolutions, and Adam Lee, they've all pitted. So these guys in front, they haven't pitted yet for any compound. So there's still a lot to play for. So technically, right now, the stands, Chris Jones, Ashley Pelzeri, when everyone pits, he's in the net lead. But it's whether or not his task can last the distance. 30 laps on a set of wets, it's possible, potentially. But the safety car, it's all about safety car, and I'll see how long it stays out for. I don't quite know why it has been deployed. There's been no collisions. Debris, it might be for debris. I don't think that is the case. As now Midsy's got a 5 second go penalty for collision with Thomas. There's been a collision between those two. So Midsy, who had points in the bag and going to finish championship leading even further, has now got a penalty for collision with Thomas. And I wonder why that's happened. Let's have a look. They've obviously got quite close together. Thomas was behind. So that must have been rear-ended or something. This is interesting. I don't know if there's actually an issue with the safety car at all, but maybe that is the case. But we can all settle down now. But the action is going to get very, very interesting once we go once again after the safety car period. But Maestro's managed it pretty well. It's probably a thing that he didn't want to happen. He's got the personal fastest lap of the race so far, 23.0. It's very wet out there. It doesn't look like it's going to stop either. So I do think this is going to be a wet race throughout. So hopefully be going anytime soon. The safety car isn't in yet, so we've probably got another lap or two of the safety car. But it should be a very interesting race indeed after this car comes in. But, anyway, I mean, people might choose to pit, but I do think like if you do pit in, actually safety car is staying up another lap. So if you do pit in, like you're just going to be behind people like Chris and people with really peers, so it's probably not worth you doing that. But potentially the wet tyres can go 29 laps, but I think they would probably wear out. So I do think that Chris will have to pit again, and Pelzeri and Revolutions and Adam, who have already pitted, probably have to pit again anyway, I'd assume. But we're still waiting for the clear, but it's very wet out there. These guys are in for a mega challenge out there, and offline's very wet as well. Doesn't seem like the rain is going to stop either, so it's pretty much here to stay till the end. So I do think there can be a lot of action left to have in this race. Very tight now, I think it's the order, so I think game is on for this race win still. But Midzi, his chances have kind of gone a little bit because of his penalty, which I don't know why he's got a penalty. If he was rear-ended by Thomas on a safety car, then surely Thomas should have been the one who got a penalty, but we don't know that scenario yet. We'll probably know that after the race in the steward's office. But other than that, we probably don't know too much. Maybe the safety car might be in this lap. We never know. Once those lights go off, we'll know that it's coming in. So it's still flashing when it stands. So guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed it so far. Let's see. It's a little bit slow now. The safety car is actually in this lap. So here we go. Maestro will be waiting to start this race. It is very tricky after the safety car restarts as well. It isn't easy to get the power away. Tyres will be cold, brakes will be cold as well. So Maestro will be the one that goes here. And now Chris Becker-Jones has got a penalty with ILR Bibbin. So another one there. Maybe got too close potentially. I'm not quite sure. But Maestro is going to be going any moment now. He'll go probably out of the last corner. There is a line where you normally go. And Maestro might have just gone now. He actually has gone. He's bolted for it. He's already gone. And he's now ahead of Dasfell. So he goes through the last gate. He's made a mistake here. Dasfell is going to go on the outside. It's close. There's a collision between the two of them. And let's go on board with this one. And Maestro is struggling for grip. But it's now the Dutchman is down the order. 4th place for Dasfell. That Dutchman's on the inside of Josu. He goes on the inside. Has he got this one stick? He might have made this one stick. There's a collision between Josu and Dutchman. Dustfell's on the inside. That's a little bit of oversteer. But now it's Josu into 2nd place. Dutchman down to 3rd. So there's been a collision slightly between... it's Dustfell struggling so much for grip. He nearly rear-ends Dutchman there. But it looks like, from what I can see, there was Marshall made a little mistake. And Dustfell was forced near to the barrier on the right-hand side and he had to get way out of it. But potentially there's a bit of damage to that McLaren. Now, Mitzi's now into 5th place, so he's climbed up the order, got past Jamie. And they're all so struggling out there. It's so treacherous and the tyres won't be up to temperature as it stands. But let's have a look down and let's see how our race leader is doing. Maestro has got away by a second, but Maestro went so deep going into that chicane. It kind of caught Dasfell out a little bit, and it looked like Dasfell was so far to the right into the barrier nearly. It looked like he nearly made contact, but I think he's alright. It's a little bit spread out as it stands. As now Dasfell's trying to find a way past the Force India. The Force India is right over the back of Josu. Josu is actually an amazing. Look at this. Great exit. Struggling for Maestro. Maestro struggling once again. Let's go on board with TR Dutchman. As now Maestro is battling them for the lead with Josu. Josu's on the inside. Maestro's on the right hand side. Maestro's on the inside. Let's go back to Josu. Can he get the cut back on the Force India driver? He cannot get the cut back. Down the order, we've got TR Dutchman and Dasfell battling away, but nothing has accumulated either. But look at this, Missy just sitting back and letting this all play out. Dasfell is chasing Dutchman down as well. It's all pretty close in that top 4, but Marshall once again makes that mistake in the last chicane, and that's Josh. Josh, you can see that happening. He needs to put Maestro over under some extreme pressure, and that would be going on in Maestro's mind. He'll keep remembering that in the past 2 laps, he's made mistakes in that last chicane, and that will be in his head. He'll know it, and he cannot afford to make another mistake again, because if he does that, he's going to be down from first, possibly down to 4th. within one corner. So he's got to keep it all clean, Maestro, and not push it too hard. It's so easy to push it too hard and go too much to the limit. Dasveld is chasing after Tia Dutchman, and nothing accumulating as yet to go with Josu and Maestro. Maestro is still in front by 7 and a bit tenths, but Maestro's got to be very wary of that last chicane. He's got to make sure he doesn't make a mistake. Let's go with Maestro as he heads into the final chicane. Needs to break it nicely down, and I think he's okay this time around. And actually, Josu is the one with the mistake. He's actually got and Dasveld actually made a mistake as well for corner cutting. So Josu has a bad exit. He's run it wide, and he's cut that corner. So he's lost time, and now Vozovi's got a penalty as well. So people are struggling with corner cutting because the grip. There's no grip out there. So Josu currently in second place. Made a mistake. Was the one that made a mistake instead. And Dasveld is right behind as well, and Midzi is close behind, so we should have a battle going on here. Any other battles you should be aware of? Flying Vozovi is battling away with Ewa Pelzeri. Thomas actually does a fast lap of the race, 22.686. But right now, our tightest battles here are from first and the fifth. And even actually, we've got Jamie in sixth, for actually from first to sixth. There's a massive battle going on. We've got both Ferraris in 7th and 8th, but both McLarens are 4th and 5th. And McLaren are looking good to extend their Constructors' Championship lead as it stands. But so far, so good. It's all been pretty clean. But nothing... It's been pretty close because obviously as soon as one guy makes a mistake at the front, it all closes up again. So we kind of keep wanting to have that because it's going to be quite fun to watch. But Dasveld's pretty close to... Well, Lizzie's quite close to Dasveld here. He's 6 tenths behind his teammate. Let's see how this one progresses as well. We head into the chicane. And again, they're sort of starting to spread out a little bit here. Starting to get into their own race rhythm, getting some consistency. Jamie Maestro is behind. Well, Chris is actually behind Robinson here. It's 10ths as well. But now Maestro's got a gap of 1.2 seconds to Josu. So Maestro's now starting to stretch his legs once again. So it's almost as if Maestro's kind of lost that momentum that he was going on. He was actually in a rhythm initially, extending the gap that he had. And then obviously when Sitka came out, and obviously Sitka settled things down again, it's all he's kind of got out of that rhythm, and he kind of made those two mistakes, which is what's caused that gap to come down. It's actually down to 6 tenths once again, so Maestro struggling a little bit out there. So these guys are just trying to settle into this race. Nothing as in terms of action. I think people are just being cautious as now Ellie Revolutions gets a penalty. 3-second time penalty for him. But as it stands, it's pretty close up front. Let's go back to the front battle. Actually, look at that. Josu is right behind Maestro this time round. So let's see. It's 8 tenths though, so it's actually growing out the exits. Not a good exit from that hairpin. This is seemingly is where Josu's losing a little bit of his lap time. How does Maestro take the last chicane now? He's better this time round, so he gets a good exit from there. And yeah, he's away, but still Josu follows suit with him, and he's 7 tenths behind. So it's very tight up front. As that Chris Jones with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So obviously struggling with the grip, and he's probably making mistakes going wide, corner cutting because the grip just isn't there. Josu does the fastest lap of the race so far, so he's really doing a superb job behind F1 Maestro as it stands. But everyone's sort of into their rhythm now, and not really people are going to go for moves. I think people start going for moves when people are making mistakes. And as it stands, people are keeping it on the island, people are keeping it cool and calm. And so far, it's all pretty sort of timid, really. It's been quite a polite race. We've got a battle down the order. We've got Joker and Maestro and Chris battling away. Let's run on board with this one. It's sort of 5 tenths the gap. Something might come up with this one. Let's see. So Brunson's struggling as well. So the Ferrari boys are just struggling out there a little bit. And Guillaume Marquez has got penalties as well. So Chris needs to make sure that he can get some points today. But Joko is doing a superb job in the wet in 9th place, trying to get some points on the board, and he's chasing after Chris, who normally isn't down in 8th place. He's normally better than that, so obviously struggling in these conditions. Joko has got a good exit though from that hairpin. Let's see if this amounts to anything. We head down this back straight here. He's closing and closing and closing, but it's just not enough. Heading into this final chicane is a good run from him. You know what? He's got a good run here. Let's run on board with the Renault driver. Goes to the left-hand side of Chris Jones. He's got the fantastic run. He's going to be on the inside for turn 1. Can he make this one stick down into 3rd gear? He brakes later than the Ferrari driver, and he's got that move. Fucking done. He's got that move, pardon my French, he's got that move absolutely done. Very good job from Joker now. Into 8th place, chasing after Bronson now. So, very good move from Joker as he continues his journey. And he's looking very good for some good points here in Canada. But as it stands, look at this. Josu has 3 tenths behind Maestro here. So, Maestro not looking comfortable as now it's up to 3 yellow flags. Rosabee's got penalty for 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings again. So, that's going to be corner cutting. But Josu is right behind Maestro. He isn't letting Maestro go here. As we head into the hairpin, and he's a good exit here. We've got 22 laps to go. Closes right up to the Force India driver. That needs a good run. A little bit of oversteer. And then there's Maestro. Maestro gets a little bit of oversteer as well. So they're both struggling for grip. They head down into the final chicane. He's closing in. He's using that slipstream, but again, it's just not enough. He needs a good exit from the last chicane here. As actually Maestro made a mistake here. He's made a mistake here on the inside for Josu. Can he make this one stick? Maestro's on the right hand side, but Josu didn't get the exit he wanted either because almost he was blocked by Maestro as he made a mistake. But he got on the inside of Maestro. He's locked the left front a little bit. They bang wheels. It goes around the outside. Can he make one mistake? No, he cannot. Maestro does not let him through. So Maestro is fighting with all his might. And they're all struggling. Dutchman's right there as well with him. Thomas has got a penalty. Dasfeld is there, and so is Missy. He's dropped back a little bit from that battle. So, battle between the top 4 is so close. As Josu is right over Maestro's rear end. Maestro will be feeling the pressure so much. The pressure will be through the roof here. He's chasing after him and doing everything he can. He just needs to find a way past so far. And look at that, a mistake by TR Dutchman. It's going to cost him a very bad exit. McLaren of Dasfeld will close in a little bit. It might not be enough to make an overtake, which it won't be. Josu is so close behind Maestro. Maestro will be feeling the pressure. Josu needs a good exit, and he actually has got a pretty good exit this time and had the slipstream. Whether or not it's enough, and he is closing it down. So here he comes. It's in the slipstream. He won't have anything else. It's going to be too risky to go for the move on the inside. Is it going to be too risky? He looked, but not enough. Maestro, again, a little mistake from Josu. Dasfeld's got a few time about this. They're all struggling because it's so hard. It's understeering so much. It's now TR Dutchman has got a good run from the last chicane, but it's not close enough to Josu. So there's a 3-way battle up front. As now he struggles for turn 1. Dasfeld's all over the rear of it. He's trying to look to the inside, but can't get the exit. As the outside is a better exit for the Force India driver. But so far, it's pretty... everyone's struggling to find a way past. People can get the moves done, but it's just so tricky in these conditions. People not risking it. People not risking to oversteer off into the wall. People don't want to do that. And it's such a struggle out there. Mid-C is getting caught by Jamie as well behind. There's a battle commencing here, so there's almost 2x2 battling here. We've got Maestro and Josu battling. We've got Dutchman and Dasfeld battling. We've got Mid-C and Jamie battling. There's so many battles going on here, as now Pelzeri and Arch Racing are battling away. Dasfeld looking for a possibility of getting past. But let's look back at Josu and Maestro again. The gap's about 8.5 tenths. And Pelzeri and Arch Racing are having a good old England battle down there. I would have a look at that, but it's just we'll just concentrate on this top battle here between the top 4. It's absolutely fantastic to watch. It's very tense as well because if any one of these guys makes a mistake, they're into the wall or they're going to lose 4 positions at once. Particularly here from Maestro. If he loses and makes a mistake, he's lost 3 positions easy down to 4th place. So any mistake from these guys, you're going to lose the podium or lose the win here. But so far, again, it's just. Everyone's just trying to get into the groove, but because people are making mistakes, it's just kind of stopping their sort of their rhythm in that race. It's just stopping it, and you can't get into that rhythm, that flow of a race. Again, you kind of need to be within 2 tenths of striking distance to have any chance. And Josu has closed once again on F1 Maestro, and he's got a bit of trick in front. So let's run on board with Josu once again. He's a good run. He hasn't got the run he'd like. He's about 5 tenths off. We'll have a bit of a slipstream. Head into this hairpin. Bit of traffic from Adam Lee in front, and Adam Lee isn't going to get out of the way, is he? He's not getting out of the way. Actually, no, he's just he's fine. It's fine. So it's okay. Don't worry. It's fine. But that would have put Maestro off a little bit. 5 tenths, it is closing once again. But is it going to be enough for a move? It's not going to be enough this time around. He's a good exit from the last chicane here. And he's locked up big time. Has to take to the cut here. And he's got a penalty for that. And to be honest, he didn't gain anything from that. He took the escape route. So penalty for Josu there. And that's destroyed his chances. But he can keep putting the pressure on Maestro. Maestro is one of the cleanest drivers I know in terms of track limits. So he's very good on those. He doesn't really normally get penalties. But Dasfell and Midsley struck back a bit more. He's actually about 2 to 2 seconds off his own teammate. So looks like Midsley's struggling a little bit in these conditions and just trying to keep in 5th and get those points on the board. Jamie is pretty tight behind, but again, Josu is tight behind Maestro. But again, they still aren't able to make a move because there's no DRS. And actually now Palzeri gets a penalty. As there's no DRS, they're struggling to get any sort of move done. And now Maestro is right behind Maestro once again. So we're going to keep with this one. I'm not going to move down the order again. This is where we're going to focus our chances on here. And look at this. Josh is right behind the Force India. Looks to the inside, does he? He cannot make it stick. But it just, look at that. The other Force India, Dutchman's right behind too. But I think Dutchman's got a good exit here. He has got a good exit. He's 2 tenths behind. He's in the slipstream. He's going to have this move pretty much done. Surely not. He can't. He's not got enough. He's going to have to wait for this final chicane now. And he needs a good exit. He's got a little bit of oversteer. He's got an alright run, but it's not going to be enough to the line. And going into turn 1. So again, he just can't make his way past the Force India driver. He's just struggling for the exits. And where he needs the exits the most, the best exits possible, he isn't getting it. That's the big problem here. He's still 3 tenths behind him. As now Jimmy's down to 8th. He's pitted for intermediate tyres. So I don't know if that's the right choice yet. Looking at it, the rain is still falling pretty hard as now Joss is so far. He's going for the move on the inside of Maestro. Maestro needs him to space. But again, can't make the move stick, but he can get the cut back on Maestro. Let's go on board. He actually got the move done. He's got that move done on Maestro. Maestro's on the left-hand side. Can he make this one stick? Can he go on the outside? No, he cannot. Surely not. He can cut back though. A little bit of oversteer mid-corner. Needs a good exit and lots of oversteer on the exit. Like, can't make the move stick. So Maestro down in 2nd place. What a move by Josu. And just is going to start sprinting away from the Force India driver. He's got that penalty, remember, as well. So he wants to start sprinting away and building a gap. But ever since the 6th car period, Maestro hasn't had the rhythm. He was pulling away. He was up 2 seconds before the safety car. The safety car came out. It reset the whole game completely. And Maestro hasn't been the same in the first 4 laps here. Maestro, though, is still behind Josu. And he's actually coming into the pit lane. So Maestro is like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm coming in. And I'm going to trim the tyres, and I reckon it's going to be the first set of intermediates. Let's have a little look what these tyres are going to be here. And they are for a set of intermediates, so the track has dried out since the start. So it hasn't got worse, it's got better. So a set of intermediates, going to get the undercut, and he hopes it's going to be enough against Josu. So Josu needs a fantastic in-lap, and hope that that's enough. As actually now, Jamie's actually done a trade 2.0. It's actually just to be matched on the wets by Joker. So they're actually pretty similar lap times in the wets than the inters. But the inters do seem to be the better tyre at this stage of the race. Slightly. But let's see how things go for Josu. Where is Josu? He's currently... actually, again, mistake made by the Dutchman. He's actually cut that corner, so he's struggling once again. They're probably struggling to get this car slowed down because maybe it's just not wet enough for these wets. So it means they can't get the braking correct. So it needs to be in for Josu here. And now every LE Revolution actually now left session. So DNFs here, LE Revolutions, Tomos, and ILR Bibbin so far. A lot of the field are on the intermediates. Josu will come into the pit lane as Dutchman is very close behind him as well. And they all slow it down for the pits. So let's see how this all goes down for the Red Bull driver. The pit box is around about here. So let's see. They service him nicely, and he's on his way. So let's see where Maestro is in comparison. Maestro coming actually out the last corner, so I think he's got this one done actually. It should be done for the Force India driver. He takes the lead of the race. And where is Josu in comparison? Josu isn't there. Jamie is now into 2nd place. Actually, Josu is actually down in 2nd place. Josu has come back out in 2nd. but he's lost a little bit of time, so he's actually lost a good probably 2 seconds to Maestro on that outlap. So good job. He'll need to get those tyres at the temperature because Jamie's had a few laps on them, but Jamie's actually done a master stroke going for a Dasfell. Pitting that much earlier on the inters. It's been an inspired choice by the Haas driver to do that. We have 15 more laps to go in this race. Everyone's pitted so far for the intermediate, and they're all on the same course, so there shouldn't be any more stops for the race. So 15 laps on the intermediate should be fine. Josu now is closing back up to Maestro, so it's as if he still has enough pace to match Maestro. So let's see how that one unfolds as well. Dasfell is pretty close behind Jamie, so we're going to keep with this one. 7 tenths or 8 tenths behind is the force. Actually, Dasfell actually get past. He's actually got past him. What's happened to Jamie there? Jamie's letting him past there. I wonder why he's doing that for. That's interesting. He made a mistake. He didn't look like he overstood or anything, so he's actually let him go. Let's look down in the order. Let's see. We've got Joker and Flying Wasabi battling away, so let's keep on board with these two. Joker's trying to get a pass the Flying Wasabi. As now Dasfell is fast enough for the race. Let's go on board with the Renault driver. He made a good overtake earlier on. Goes to the left-hand side. Needs to brake as late as he can. He goes brake as late as he can. He turns in nicely. He's got that move absolutely done. Flying Wasabi is close behind still. Let's see if he can fight back on the Renault driver. Head down into turn 1. No, he cannot. So, Joker down to 9th place. He was battling Chris earlier, so he's just a little bit of lap time. Potentially because he pitted, he's only just pitted for the intermediate, so Chris has actually done 2 laps, so he would have got the undercut on him. It's all pretty spaced out as it stands, as now Flying Wasabi's lost his braking zone, goes very deep, and that releases Joker on his way. So as you can see, 1.1 seconds separating the top 2, but it's a pretty hefty gap that back to Dasfell. He's 2.3 seconds away. Jamie in 4th, Dutchbrid in 5th, Mitzi in 6th by quite a long way, so Mitzi is 7 seconds back from Dutchman, so I reckon maybe Mitzi has some sort of wing damage because he spent more time in the pit lane. But he's only going to outscore his rival Chris Jones by, I mean, not much. I mean, 4 points. It's all kind of settling down, but Jossie once again is so close to Maestro. 5-10 separating the top 2 as now Jossie's on the fast up of the race at 19.4. Jossie's absolutely loving the wet conditions today. He's having a fantastic race. So far, my driver of the day has to go to him. He's done a superb job, loving these conditions. As I said, going into this race, he's been a very consistent driver this season. And we could be looking at our 7th different winner if all things pan out. He has got a penalty, remember, as well, so he needs to get in front of Maestro and stretch the gap. He does seem to have the pace over the Force India driver. He's in this machine once again. Needs a good run from here. And they're all starting to get into that rhythm now. They're getting used to the circuit. As now yellow flags into sector 1 once again. Yosu again he's behind. He needs it. Oh, he brakes quite nicely actually. He's very late on the brakes, the Red Bull driver. And he's got a decent run, has he? He's going to have the slipstream. He's got a very good run. He's got a good chance. Has he got enough ERS in the bank? He might do. He's going to use that ERS down this back straight. Heading into that final chicane. Is it going to be enough? He's going to look to the inside, but no, he can't make it stick. Let's go on board with the Red Bull driver. Lots of oversteer on the exit though, and he hasn't been able to close it enough. It's 4 tenths currently, and he's going to have to wait another lap or so. So it's not enough, but he's looking very close. Again, very good, very similar to early on. He looked very close to Maestro, wasn't able to hook up a move, so he's still waiting and biding his time for that to happen. Again, things are sort of spread out behind them. Dasfell's 2 and a bit seconds away. So is Jamie. As Chris is actually on the fastest race at 19.146. But Dasfell's 2 and a bit seconds behind. So the main battle in this race is between the top 2 boys who are absolutely going at it. Maestro though will be thinking, you know, he's got a penalty, but he's probably thinking that he's got more pace. So he's probably going to try and delay him as much as he can and hold on and just hope. But yeah, good exit from Maestro. So from some laps, Maestro's getting the better exit, and other laps, he's not, as now Dutchman gets a 3-second time penalty as well. Now, does Josh get the exit that he wants? He's probably a bit far back. He is closing, he's 6 seconds behind once again. So if he can get a good exit from this last chicane, he'll have a good chance going into turn 1, but that's if, a big if. Very tricky that last chicane for traction as well. Let's see what he can do. He gets an alright run. And you know what? It's a pretty good run. He's closing and closing and closing, but it's not enough. He's got to wait again. So it's so tricky in these conditions to overtake. There's no DRS, remember. So it's not as clear cut as we'd like it to be. We're going to still keep with these two because these two are battling it out. It's the closest battle on circuit. It's for the win. And we're going to keep with these boys. Because it's absolutely tense as hell. This is a thriller of a race between these two. A fantastic battle. I personally want Joshua to win this race. Mainly because of the statistic of having 7 different winners in the first 7 races. That's my thing. But whoever wins this race will fully deserve it. It's so hard work in these conditions. And Joshua wants to get so close behind Maestro. Gets an alright exit. Missy now got a penalty again. So Missy, he might be quite far behind now because of the penalties he has. Oh, he's hit him! Oh, a massive collision with the top 2. Maestro's been hit by Josu. Josu seemingly has lost his braking zone there. I didn't see that one coming, but Maestro's off the circuit. Maestro down in 2nd place. He hasn't got any other damage, I don't think. He wouldn't have got any rear damage from that. So, unfortunately, he's been hit off by Josu. And Josh has got the front wing damage, and Josh is going to be struggling around the circuit. That's that battle absolutely done. But Dazfel is seeing himself right there with Maestro, so there still could be a race on for first place. But that was so odd. We saw that on the camera. Josh just hit him off. But then again, we saw a bit of front wing come off, but the gap isn't closing at all. As now penalties are all coming through because people are making mistakes out there. Yeah, Josh has got the front wing damage. So I don't know what on earth happened there. I believe Josh has missed brake. He's not seen his braking point, and he's kind of messed it up. But yeah, just looking at the gap, it's not as if he's got any damage. Interesting, because I saw a front wing come off Jossie's car, so I'm surprised that is he got? I don't know. Something did come off that Red Bull, and nothing's there, and it's almost like the front wing's gone back on him. That is odd. Maybe there's a bit of lag involved. I'm not quite sure really. But does fell a second back, so he's pretty close to this one as well. So he's 9/10 behind his from Maestro. It's going to be pretty tight between these top 3 now. I think this might be the battle we have for the rest of the race. But I was looking forward to the battle between Josu, but I don't know if Josu's got any damage at all. But I'm sure we'll look into that at the end of the race in the stewards panel. I'm sure we'll be able to investigate that. The second now difference between Josu and F1 Maestro, and second back to Dazfel. So these two, these 3 are closing up once again. So we will have a battle on here for the race win. Remember, Joshua has got the 3-second time penalty, so it's still all to play for. And Joshua really has to focus on getting that gap out if he wants to win this race. But Maestro is a bit too far back to have any sort of slipstream at all. As he's absolutely messed with that braking zone and gets another 3-second time penalty. So he's really struggling with that braking zone. And again, you're just getting more penalties by doing that. You want to slow down completely. And if he has to lose the lead of the race, I would choose to rather lose the lead of the race than actually getting the penalties. But look at that. Maestro's closed up right up to the Red Bull driver here. So this battle is going to continue on. And Maestro wants to get that position back because he was punted off the road. So I don't know if there's any lag involved or if there's actually any damage to that front wing of the Red Bull. The Red Bull isn't struggling for grip in terms of understeer. You can see the way it's moving into the corners and the apexes. It's turning in fine. So I think that might have been some sort of lag, to be honest. But I swear I saw some debris come off that Red Bull. Now, Maestro's going to be sizing his opportunity up. He can take his time now. Just got another time penalty again. So, corner cutting and everything. He's having all the penalties involved, but he needs to think, you know. He's gone really deep there, so Maestro's got a good chance. He needs a good exit. He's got the exit. He's 3 turns back. He's going to have the slipstream. He's going to have the ERS. He might not got the best of exits because of the wild line taking from Josu. Let's run on board with Maestro. Let's not do that because the audio is absolutely messed up. Anyway, let's head down into the last chicane. Let's see what he can do. He breaks a bit nicely. He needs a good run. He's got the good run he wants. He's in the slipstream. He's 4 turns back this time, so maybe he hasn't got enough. No, he hasn't. He's going to wait another lap, so he's still staying behind, but Das Vogel is in as well. He's going to watch this all unfold. These these three are all going to battle it away, and this will allow Dutchmen to close in as well if they can all continue. They need to get this all sorted out, really. We've got 7 more laps to go in this race. The win is all alive for these three. These three can absolutely do it. Just as Maestro is closing in on Josu. Let's see what he can do. He's looking at the inside, but no, he's too far back. He's going to wait once again. He needs a good exit from here. Is he going to get the exit he wants? He's a little bit far back this time. He's around about 6 tenths back. So this brings him into the clutches of Dasfell. Dasfell has the slipstream of Maestro. Maestro has the slipstream of Josu. Needs a good exit once again from here. Does he get the exit he wants? It's going to be around about 6 and a bit tenths down. So he needs a good exit from this hairpin. And if he gets the exit he wants, he can try and slipstream down the straight. So, has he got the exit? Let's have a look. It's going to be around about 6 tenths, is it? Yeah, he'll have the slipstream. So he needs to focus on this last chicane and get the exit. Again, it's so tricky because the slipstream isn't that effective in the wet. He's closing and closing and closing. Big time on the Red Bull. He's got a good run, surely. He's got a good run. That's what's got a penalty as well. Here comes Maestro. Let's run on board. Let's just ignore the sound quality. Has he got enough momentum? He's going to look. No, he hasn't. He's going to have to wait another lap because he's not getting it done. That was the closest he was into someone than he has ever been so far. So he's just waiting for his opportunity. And he's got a good run here. Look at this. He's got to have a good run. He's got to run to the outside. Surely not. Can he go around the outside? No, he cannot. He hits Josu slightly there as well. And look at that. Dasfell's all over the back. Look at the gap. It's so close. 3 tenths separating first place and second place. 3 tenths separating the second and third place. So it's so tight. And look at that. Josu is really struggling here. Maestro is all over the rear. Can he make this one stick? He looks to the inside. Surely coming on the inside. He cannot. He'll have to wait once again. He's a good exit. He's got a good. He's actually on the inside here, so he's got a good chance. Maestro from the outside gets a little oversteer, and here comes Maestro. He's got the chance he wants. He's got the better exit. Here he comes. He's got the move done. Surely he's got that move done. And let's look back and look at that. He's got the move done, but look at the Dasfell is on the right hand side. 3 wide nearly. No, it's not going to be. Josu's on the right hand side. They battle away. They're battling away. They're still side by side together. Let's go back to Josu. Josu's on the inside. Can he make this one on the inside? No, he cannot. And Maestro retakes the lead. Does he not? No, he doesn't. Josu goes on the inside. Brings as late as possible. Maestro goes on the outside. And Maestro will take the lead of the race as Josu makes a mistake. So Maestro back into the lead of the race, and he'll try and pull away. Dasfell all over behind Josu, and as it stands so far, I think Josu's actually hit the wall there, so he's been a little bit rattled by that mistake. Dasfell looks for an opportunity on the Red Bull. He'll try his absolute best. He's got a good run. He has got the run he wants, and he's got it the move done. So Josu's gone from first to third in a matter of a few corners. So it looks like maybe. He's got front wing damage, I think, from what I can see on the front right end plate. There's nothing left on that. But it's still battling on. They're still going to battle on. Dutchman's actually been allowed to close in here because of these 3 battling away. Look at this. Just going to get a good exit here. But Maestro is going to try and leapfrog and just absolutely just fly away with this. He wants to win this race. But Dasfell is looking for any opportunity he can on Maestro as well. Remember, Dasfell will have a penalty take into contention as well, but look at it. Dasfell needs a good exit from the final chicane. Does he get the exit he wants? And you know what? He's looking pretty good as the McLaren driver as well. Dasfell gets no penalty though, so again, looking very good for Maestro in terms of getting the win on the board, which means that we won't have 7 different winners in 7 different races, but the top 5 are closing up big time as now Dutchman, or top 4 actually, and now Dutchman closes in as well in this battle, as I mentioned earlier on. 4 laps to go in this race. It's still not all over yet. One mistake from Maestro and it's all over and done with. He'll lose 3 positions all at once. So Josu is still right behind Dasfell. Behind, it's all pretty, just right now it's all kind of settled down into the races behind, so it's all about these top 4. These 4 are going for it as much as they can. And now Josu gets another penalty, and Dasfell's lost 1.3 seconds behind, and then look at this, look how close Josu is to Dasfell. He's looking close, but it's not enough. He looks at the front, needs a good exit from this hairpin. He got the exit right, actually RH Racing is off now, and that's the end of his chance of scoring any points here today. Josu's in the slipstream, he'll be using the ERS once again. And he wants that second place, he really would love the second place. Needs a good exit, and you know what, he might have the exit if he's careful. He's got an alright exit on the McLaren driver, let's see what he can do. He's in the slipstream, but is it enough? No, it's not. He goes to the inside, he's going to make a bold move on the inside. He's done that again, and he's forced Dasfell off. That's what's come back on, and Dutchman's going to have a good chance on him here as well. Let's look at Dutchman. He's on the inside of Dasfell. Dasfell on the right hand side, left hand side, and Dasfell's trying to go on the outside. Can he make it stick? Yes, he cannot. He cannot make it stick. So Dutchman's lost, or Dasfell lost 2 positions in one go, as Josu made that very aggressive lunge on him in turn 1, and it's forced him off. So Dasfell will be very upset with that, I think. But all this has allowed now Jamie to close in as well, so it's still all to play for. But Maestro's leaped away 2.5 seconds. The guy's got an absolutely comfortable lead, and he can chill out. Well, he can't chill out, but he can just keep the momentum going and keep that lead, not take any risks now. He's looking very good as the Force India driver. Dasfell is all at the back of Dutchman still, so it's still Dasfell wants that podium still. We'd love another podium. He's had a superb run recently, and now Jamie's slightly lagging in the background. Yeah, he started lagging a little bit, so hopefully. But look at this, Josu's made a mistake here, and you know what, it's looking pretty good for Dio Dutchman. He's going to go to the right hand side. Can he make this one stick? He goes to the right hand side, Josu's on the inside, and he cannot. Josu breaks a little bit later, so this battle for second place is on still. Dasfell's on the inside as well, but cannot get the exit he wants. So these 3 are all battling away for second place. It's all done and dusted for first place. It's all done and dusted, surely. Unless Marshall makes a massive mistake, as he's now 4 seconds in front. But now Dutchman is looking for any chance of to get any sort of opportunity from Josu here. He's in the slipstream, but once again it's just so tight, as now Jamie's looking to join in the action as well. We've got a couple more laps to go. It's not all over yet, as these 3 are all continuing to battle away in this race. Now, look at that, the track's actually getting quite dry up there, so let's see. Let's run on board with Dutchman, and looking, you know what, it's looking almost going into slick conditions. It's very close, it's not enough. But here we go, he's in the slipstream now. He's going to be using the ERS. Has he got enough momentum down the straight? He's got enough momentum, going to go to the left hand side. No, he's not. He's going to try and get the cut back on the Red Bull driver. He's looking for his opportunity, but he cannot get the exit he wants. He's struggling big time for tyres. I think the track is drying out quite quickly. It's dried pretty quickly in the last sort of 3 laps or so. So it's just incredible how close Dutchman's getting to Josu. He's so much more confident. As now Chris in the fastest race at 18.9, so it's still intermediate conditions, but it's getting to that phase where it's transitioning to the slicks. TR Dutchman's looking for any chance to get past Josu. It could be a Force India 1-2 in Canada. And how cool would that be for the Constructors' Championship? Dutchman once again, so close behind. 5-second gap to Maestro, and Maestro's got this all under control. And he made a mistake, he's locked up a little bit there, so he's really struggling. People are struggling to get it slowed down because it looks like it's getting very, very dry. It's released Josu a little bit here. It's still 6 seconds behind. He needs a good exit here, does Dutchman. Has he got the exit he wants? Let's see. Let's run on board with the Force India driver once again. He's going to have the slipstream. It's very dry this round, but it won't have DRS. He's in the slipstream, he's closing. No DRS, just ERS, sorry. But again, not any opportunity. He needs a good run. As Johnson makes a mistake, and there's front wing damage. Dasville is going to have the opportunity anytime now. There's been a collision between Joshua and Dutchman once again. And let's see, Dasville, if you're looking for any opportunity, Dutchman's not going to be very happy with Joshua at all with that, as Joshua parked it on the apex. Let's see what Dasville can do. Dutchman was going to be struggling with understeer all over the show. Let's ride on to the TV cameras once again. Look how close Dasville is. The Dutchman is going to go to the inside here. Let's see what he can do. No, he cannot make the move stick. He's going to look for any chance around the outside. No, he cannot. Dutchman very deep. Needs a cut back to Dasville. It's releasing Joshua away. Again, struggling for grip because of how dry it is out there. And he's looking for any opportunity. He cannot make it stick. He's waiting for his time. He's so close behind. He's struggling big time. They're both struggling. Oversteer everywhere. Jamie's looking behind. Look how close Jamie is as well. He's lagging a little bit though. That's the problem. So now, Mizzy, can he make any sort of move? Oh, that's for can he make any sort of move, sorry, on Dutchman? No, he cannot. But let's look to our leader of the race. He's going to come through as he comes through the last chicane for the final time. He's going to take his second victory of the season. Our first repeat winner of the season goes to Maestro, who wins in Canada by 6 seconds. Fantastic. Josu is in second place. He'll take down and take second on the board. It'll be Dutchman who comes across the line in third. Dasville in fourth. Actually, no, Dasville. Jamie takes it on penalties. Jamie gets the podium on penalties. Second place for Jamie. Midseat on the podium in third. With no penalty. With a penalty, but not as many as Joshua Dasville. So Midseat, for his championship, he's got third place and on the podium, and he wasn't even there all race. Fantastic. Midseat in third, Joshua in fourth, Dasville in fifth, Brumson in sixth, Chris in seventh. He'll be big time disappointed. Dutchman down in eighth because of penalties. Ninth for Joker, 10th for Pelzeri. But what a race we had here in store. Again, the race is never over until the checkered flag because of the penalties. We have this all the time. But around here, it's been such a tricky race for all these boys. These boys have worked so hard today. It's been wet, changeable, it's dry at the end, and everyone comes across the line. Well, pretty much apart from Irish Racing, Everly Revolutions, Thomas, and somebody else. But there you go. There it is. The race is all done and dusted. I hope you guys enjoyed the race. We'll have the podium interviews, but what a race. Changeable conditions, full wet to start off with, transitions to intermediate conditions, drives out substantially towards the end, nearly slick tyres but not enough. I think that would be my sort of favourite race. It would be my favourite race if it went from wets into slicks. That would have been fantastic. But so tired at the end, and we have a surprise podium because we have Midseat on the podium. He was nowhere near the podium all race, and he gets it because of the penalties from other drivers. And it's so tricky in these conditions to keep the car on the circuit, keep the car on the black stuff. Penalties happen in the wet conditions. It's so tricky out there, and I'm pretty sure every single person had penalties in this race. So let's have a look down on the lowdown of this race here and the final classification for the Canadian Grand Prix. So it's F1 Maestro who takes the win here in Canada. He's our first repeat winner of the season. Jamie takes home second place in the Haas. Oh, what a fantastic second place for him. He's picked it up. Third place for Midseat, fourth for Josu, and fifth for Dasville, sixth for Mike Brumson, seventh for Cressmaker Jones, eighth for Dutchman, ninth for Joker, and 10th for Pelzeri. Flying Rosavi in 11th, 12th for Adam Lee, 13th for Irish Racings, 14th for Elevations, 15th for Thomas, and then 16th for ILR Bibbin. There is your final classification for the Canadian Grand Prix. We are going to get the top three in to do the podium interviews. And we'll see how they all think about that. Maestro, let's get in Midseat, and we need Jamie in as well.
Hello, Dom.
Hello. Congrats, man.
I hope the stream caught the whole of the race. That was in terms of all the battles. It's an incredible race.
Mate, I couldn't keep up.
How's your voice?
How's fucked? I'm just trying to get Jamie into the party.
Nice win, Maestro.
Thank you. Yeah. Was everyone else's tyres just dead at the end? Because I just started to pull away. I don't know what was going on behind. Or was Josu parking the bus?
I caught up I was catching up at the end, but I had too many penalties anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how I got 0.
Fantastic. Right. Has everyone engaged their audio, broadcasted their audio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine. That's fine. That's good. That's good. All right. So let's start off with F1 Maestro, our race winner, our first repeat winner of the season, surprisingly. Anyway, what a race, man! Qualifying went superb, didn't it? I mean, qualifying was mad, and then in the race you had battles throughout the whole field, and we're battling away for first place. Let's sum up your race in detail.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, qualifying. Not my best lap. I reckon I could have got a 7.6, but obviously to get pole by 4 tenths, you can't really complain. And my start was actually unreal, which was good because I've been struggling with those on this game. So I was clear at the start, and then before the safety car, it was me and Daz. Daz's pace was pretty impressive, just going off at the front. But unfortunately, the safety car came out. I don't know why, because I had quite a big gap back to third. And then on the safety car restart, I should probably apologise to Daz because I nailed the original restart on the throttle, but then breaking into the final chicane, I went in too deep with the cold tyres and cost him a couple of places there, which is unfortunate by trying to stay on the track. Then for the rest of the full wet stint, my tyres were pretty badly worn. I kept Jossu behind for as long as possible, but eventually he did get past me, and at that point I decided to come in for inters. And I was lucky not to get jumped by Jamie, actually. He came in a couple of laps earlier and was pretty close behind me on the exit of the pits. And then on lap 20 something, coming into the hairpin, I got hit off. I'm not sure if it was lag, to be honest. That was my original thought when it happened. But I was luckily able to catch back up to Jossu and get past and just pull away from what sounds like a crazy battle behind at the end. And obviously picking up no penalties helps. I was hoping if I didn't get the win on track, having no penalties would have got me the win, which it would have done. But luckily, I was able to win outright, which is always good.
Yeah, I mean the battle with you and Jossu was incredible for so many laps. We were watching that on the stream, and the collision you had, I mean, it looked like he outbraked himself, and then on the actual spectator cam, it actually showed that his front wing, he actually lost a little bit of wing, but like then
Oh,
kind of like a couple of corners later, the wing was still there on his car. So I think there probably was some sort of lag involved because it makes no sense because he wasn't losing a lot of time. He was losing time, but it wasn't like a substantial amount of time. Because you expect more time to be lost if you had front wing damage in the wet. So he wasn't losing a lot of time. So I think he probably would have lagged. We'll probably see it after the race, probably. But it was a solid race from you, Maestro. Once again, a solid display. Transitioning from the wet to the dry condition, well, nearly dry towards the end. How tricky was that race to manage for you?
yeah, it was a very tricky one, especially with the tyre wear on the wets. On the inters, it wasn't actually too bad, but on the wets, I was thinking at some point because he's saying 15 minutes till light rain. I was thinking my wets aren't going to last that long. So I was thinking maybe because of the short pit lane, maybe risking it for another set of wets, but I don't think that would have been the right strategy. And eventually I did make the decision to stay out, which I think was the right call. My inters were getting into the 70s at the end, but there's no point in pitting. DRS hadn't been enabled until like the last corner. So I stuck with it, and luckily my tyres held up. I think I made all the right calls. Maybe could have come in a lap earlier for inters, but I didn't want to risk that as the leader, and no one else around me was coming in, so I made the safe decision to stay out, I think.
Yeah, man. And I think after your previous bad luck in other races, this win's been pretty much well deserved in that sense. For all the past races that have been pretty bad for you.
Yeah, there have been some mistakes from me, like Spain. I hold my hands up, that was my fault. Baku was very frustrating, and I wasn't here last week, unfortunately. But yeah, I put in a bit of practice last night. This has been previously my most successful track in league racing. I really wanted to get the win round here, and yeah, I've managed to pull that off with a sweaty battle throughout. Luckily, the last 5 laps I was able to get away and calm down. But yeah, GG to everyone else as well. That was a very enjoyable race. I'm sure I'll watch the stream back later. I'm sure it'll be an absolute cracker.
Congratulations once again, man.
Thank you.
On to Jamie now.
Um,
Jamie, you there?
yeah, no.
Yeah,
Really poor
interesting race,
qualifying.
man.
Yeah, I didn't expect a podium, so It was nice that getting
Yeah,
another
crazy.
get more some time.
Yeah, your the race. Let's talk about the race because I think you were one of the first people to pit onto the intermediate, and you had a massive. You just gained a load of lap time, and you gained a lot actually on other people around you. You managed to get in the car actually from that, and it put you in a good position. But you got on the podium on penalties, which is fantastic. Kept it clean out there pretty much. So just sum up your race in general.
Well, I had a decent start, but me and Pazeri are side by side, and they pushed me off into the grass, so I lost a couple of positions. And then until the safety car, just following people when they're battling. And then after the restart, I actually hit the wall and got a bit of front wing damage that cost me quite a bit of time. And then when I started to get like light rain, I was one of the first people to pit, so I gained a chunk of time on like Dutchman, Midzi, and the Ferraris and all that. So that was handy out. And then I just was kind of on my own for the rest of the race, done early until the end, and I got second position, which is nice.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's another podium for you as well. It's your personal best result of the season as well. You
Yeah,
had two podiums previously. You've been on a bit of a roll in the first half of the season. It's gone very well for you. Um, Sort of looking forward going into the rest of the season. What's your sort of aims going forward?
well, definitely get a win, I suppose. That's the main thing, and try and get top five in the championship, really.
Yeah, good man. Yeah, and in terms of constructors, obviously Haas are doing pretty good as well. So you as a team, you're doing superb as well. So just keep it up,
Yeah,
keep going, man. You're doing a great job, and I'm sure we'll see you winning one day very soon.
thank
Congrats,
you.
man. No worries. Now on to yourself, Midzi, in third place.
Yeah.
Again, got third on penalties. Um, Again, your race, fairly interesting, I think. Qualifying didn't go so well, and the race, you kind of a bit lonely, weren't you? So just talk about your race in general.
Yeah, well, first of all, well done to Maestro and Jamie. Obviously, all the other top runners as well, just unlucky with the penalties. But yeah, race can't really say much about. It was a tough start with Pelzeri looking a bit vulnerable at the start. That's helped Maestro and Daz get away, and up until the safety car. But it was a bit annoying under the safety car because I got a 5 second sort of go, so I got hit from a Renault, I think it was, from behind. So that cost me quite a bit of time. So from there, when I pitted for the Inters, obviously I lost quite a lot of time from the stop go, and I just tried to keep consistent towards the end because I knew the front runners had some penalties, but I didn't know they had that many. So I was pretty lucky in that sense because the pace hasn't really been there the past couple of races. So it was a fairly lucky podium. Obviously, just not getting as many penalties as the others. But yeah, I thought I could catch up to Jamie in the rest of the pack, battling it out. But every time I would gain a little bit of time, I would always make a mistake again. So I was lucky, pretty lucky sometimes to not even been in the wall. So yeah, not really much to say about the race, but I'll take the podium.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it also helps your championship again. As you said, it's been quite a tough few races for you. So in terms of the amount of points you've scored, are you pretty happy with what you've scored so far in the past sort of few races where you've struggled?
Well, Monaco, I was pretty happy with. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Spain, it could have been better. I spun out there. Wasn't really happy with that race. And Canada, not really. Qualifying was quite poor as well, quite low down, quite far off the pace. Not really on the pace either in the race. But we'll see what happens in the next few races.
Yeah, got quite a far way to go in terms of looking forward for the rest of the season. Um, is there any good tracks for you coming up, or what track are you looking at the most in terms of good results for yourself?
Hopefully, Austria, Britain, and Germany. They're three fairly strong tracks, I think, for me. So hopefully, I can at least get a podium for maybe all three races. Might be a bit ambitious, but hopefully.
Yeah, cool, man, cool. Sounds good. And then we've got a big championship battle still going on, haven't we, between yourself and Chris? And obviously now Maestro with his win today, he's closing in on that as well. So it's looking pretty tasty for the rest of the season for the championship. So you might have your work cut out in it.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with Maestro having an unlucky couple of races as well. He's definitely going to be back up there with that win.
Indeed. All right, congrats to all three of you. Great, great to see you all on the podium. Did a solid job of race again. Penalties obviously took effect, and it all worked out for all three of you. So congrats once again to all three of you. Did a good job today in a very tough race indeed. I believe we've got a break week next week, haven't we? I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Interesting. Yeah, I thought so. I think it was a confusion between if it was this week or next week, but it's going to be next week. So it means we've got a couple of weeks off before the next race of the season. So time to kind of, I don't know, you can't really rest if you're in other leagues, but you can kind of, look forward to the next race in 2 weeks' time. And obviously we'll see you guys on the stream in 2 weeks. Thanks for your company. I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks for the next race. Thank you, guys.